Hi, Shay and Stefanos.
Oh, hi.
Thank you for joining me. I have a question here for kink leaders about being educators. How and when did you know that you were ready to become educators, to be teachers?
So I think this is kind of a hilarious question because we got into the kink scene together in about 2003. Stefanos had been going out to kink events for a lot longer than that, and I was going out to some light kink events since 2001. But when we started going more hardcore was then. In 2005, we went to ShabaraCon, and at the time we were living in Minnesota, we had a tiny little community, and in 2005 there really wasn't a lot of education. We hardly ever had classes. We didn't have anybody, traveling to present for us. So when we got home from ShabaraCon, the youth group that we were part of looked at us and said, "You must know all about bondage now. Please
Tell us
teach
everything."
us. Teach us everything you know."
So we sat down, and I had some prior teaching experience to that in the sense that pretty much every job I'd ever had, eventually I ended up being the trainer at it. So, when I worked for different corporations, different companies, martial arts, fencing, the military, eventually for a university, I was, a trainer in some way. So we decided to develop a little class that we referred to as Everything You Need to Know to Go to a Big Bondage Conference, I think is what we called it. Yeah, we were just a little bit egotistical about that one.
And it was kind of the start of our Remedial Ropes series, which we have then since taught. So we taught that class just because people wanted to know what we had learned, and we're like, well, we'll try to communicate with you what we know.
Here.
And we always had the approach that we're kind of like the graduate students.
Yeah, I always tell everybody when we're teaching these classes, it's like, so you're in college, we're the TA, we're teaching you to Chapter 7, don't ask anything about Chapter 8. Because we don't know.
So that was how we started out, was we would teach, and I think it's so important as a teacher, if you know what your skill set is, I don't think you need to be a shibari master to teach bondage.
No.
I think that you can teach bondage if you're teaching beginning bondage and you know beginning bondage very well and you're a good teacher. Being a teacher, I think, is totally different than having a skill, because I've known people who are extremely skilled at whatever it is that they're doing, but can't necessarily put that skill across and teach it in a way that is accessible for someone who's just starting out. So sometimes even the graduate student philosophy is very valuable for someone who's just starting, because you remember what it's like to learn it. So that was kind of how we got started with presenting.
Yeah, long story, but indeed there.